out there. You're listening to Entertain You. This radio program is brought to you by Radio Ear Network and Society Bites Network and the Sarasota County Film and Entertainment Office, which is a fancy name for the Sarasota County Film Commission. I'm Jeannie Corcoran, your film commissioner, and it is my great pleasure and privilege to interview such interesting people in the field of entertainment. And I'm not just talking about movies and TV. I'm talking about new media and streaming and authors and screenwriters and directors and producers and actors and writers and also people who've done all those things and then, like my next guest, done all of that and now teaches others how to do that and how to do it right. And he does that so well that he gets acknowledged in major national publications as a Mentor of the Year. And his name is Bradley Battersby with Ringling College of Art and Design here in Sarasota County, Florida. Brad, thank you and welcome.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
It's good to have you. And thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
Mm-hmm.
First, you wrangle how many students?
We have 150 now across the 4 years at Ringling College for film students and growing all the time.
Well, and you brought it into being. I know they had a fledgling program.
Yeah, we started with 9 students
back
in 2009, and really the department really started in 2007, but I didn't get out here till 2009, and we kind of put the pedal to the metal from that point on, and we grew very quickly. By 2011, we were on the Hollywood Reporter Top 25 Film Schools list.
Right. And I am seeing you all on lists all the time. I watch for them because, I'm particularly fond of Ringling College and of you and your team and your students and the digital filmmaking initiatives that you have in place there. You were really one of the first visionary colleges with filmmaking that saw the handwriting on the wall about digital filmmaking. That's right. And you really changed the complexion of how the students who come to Ringling are taught and why they're taught that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was the digital revolution that allowed us to do that. I mean, we had the option of kind of combining what had happened in the past with photochemical processes and celluloid film, or just choosing to look ahead and only look ahead. And filmmaking is a very complex activity. A lot of disciplines go into it, a lot of knowledge. So we decided, well, let's stick to the future. Let's focus on digital, and digital really became our ability to just embrace that technology, train the students over the course of the 4 years that they're with us on that technology, and they become proficient.
They have.
And they go into the industry as real valuable assets to anyone who wants to hire them, who needs those services, because they know they've been trained on industry standard equipment, so they can move right from the academic world right into the professional world.
Right. And I admire so much that your students, because we work with a lot of your student films, a lot of the student filmmakers get assistance from the Film Commission, and your students can interchange themselves in different roles and different positions, and one will be a director and one will be a producer, one will be a cinematographer and one will be a set designer, and the next thing you know, the next short film they're all working together on, they've switched all the roles up. Yeah. How has that worked out for you? I mean, it's inspired, really.
First of all, I'm glad you noticed that.
Yes.
Because that is part of the value of our program, is everybody is taught to be a generalist in the first 3 years. As I said, filmmaking is a very complex activity with a lot of individual disciplines. And professionals will focus on one discipline or another. And that's how the world goes in the profession. But you don't know, as a student, as a young person, what area you're going to end up going into.
And what you'll love,
yes,
and what you'll hate.
Exactly.
Right.
And so we allow them and we require them in the first 3 years of our program to do all the disciplines, learn all the disciplines, because you don't know when your opportunity is going to show up and what it's going to be. So we had a student a couple of years ago who had done sound, but she got hired in the camera department on House of Cards. And that was huge for her, but it's because she had been trained on the red camera, which was the camera they were using on that show, that she had this skill set that they needed. And so she fit right in. Now she's in the camera union, working in Los Angeles, did Wonder Woman 2 and all these big features now. She's, that's an example. But it also, like you said, it allows the students to get a real good feeling and a good experience in each one of these disciplines to figure out, well, what do they really like? What do they want to focus on?
What really clicks for them?
Exactly. Because a lot of times they haven't had that opportunity in their life to really try out something. And they're not really sure what they want to be. So we give them that final year, the thesis year, for them to kind of focus on, say, 1 or 2 or 3 focus disciplines that they really want to concentrate on.
Right. I mean, they do it all. And it's interesting. I watch when I see permits come through and when I go to see the student films, when you have screenings and so forth, I'm watching the credits because I always watch the credits. People in our industry, we all watch the credits. And I see the different roles that one particular name will pop out to me, and they've been in 4 or 5 different capacities, and they're surrounded by others that are doing the same thing. Does it really teach them? It seems like it would really teach them teamwork, too.
Oh, yeah. It teaches them respect and understanding for what the other person's doing. It also helps them to work better with that particular other person because they understand the job and the challenges that other individual is going through.
Right.
And so it makes them, in their own particular discipline, be better filmmakers because now they know how everybody works together and how it all is valuable. Every job in the film industry, it just seemed like so many, but every job is essential to creating the positive whole.
Right. And the finished product. It's not a patchwork quilt so much as it is a jigsaw puzzle. You have to put all those pieces together in the right place in the right way to make it all work.
And we teach that.
Yeah.
We actually teach the art of collaboration. It's not just filmmaking. But how do you get along with a lot of different people? How do you create teams? How do you step out and become a leader? How do you engage every single person on your crew to do their personal best for the vision that you might have for that particular project? And that's a craft and a collaboration and an art. And so
and if
the
they
more
want
practice they get at that, really in the industry, that's what it's all about.
Truly.
It really is working with other people. Things are going to change. Technology changes all the time.
Right.
But dealing with the common issues of communication breakdown, common issues of just vision changes, and just being a positive team builder never changes.
Right.
Those are the primitive arts.
And if they're a good team, they can also be a nimble, flexible team. And they can overcome challenges and the unexpected and things that go wrong and a prop that breaks and a person that gets the flu and doesn't show up. And there's just so many things in human life that get in the way of streamlined, efficient production.
Right.
Right.
And that's another plus to our particular film education program is we're very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
We're experience-based, production intensive. So they not only write and they do all the pre-production aspects of filmmaking, but they make something, then they go back to the drawing board and see where they've gone wrong, then they write it, and they make something else. So they're constantly on set, as you could tell. You know, we really use the Film Commission in terms of getting our permits and, arranging for our locations and any kind of unique situations we have. Everyone is different on every film, but the more you get to do this, the more practice you get, that makes for a better filmmaker and a better education ultimately. So in the 4 years of our Bachelor of Fine Arts is really a kind of a unique, very unique situation when it comes to film schools across the country, because none can quite do the production intensive level that we do.
Right.
And that really pays off.
Right. I mean, I've been in our industry as a writer and a producer and a creative director, and I've done casting, I've done set design, I've done props, I've done hair, makeup, all kinds of all kinds of layers, all kinds of levels, and every single one has taught me so. I've run teleprompters, I've run camera. I've
every
done
time you're on set,
right.
Every time you have a chance to look at what somebody else is doing and see how it works.
Right.
Is this a positive? Is this a negative? And so again, working together on set, it's a constant learning environment. So it's a messy environment and it's chaotic.
It is.
And it's challenging. But it is extremely educational for
right.
filmmakers.
Right. And talk to me, too, about your students. I know many film schools will try to get their students real hands-on experience working on real projects besides their own. But your students have had some extraordinary opportunities to work on projects from outside producers, outside writers, outside actors. Right. How did that all come to be, and how does that affect you as their mentor and their teacher?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you integrate all that?
Well, one of the things that I learned from the film schools that I had one of the things that I had learned at some of the film schools I had taught at in Los Angeles was the value of guest artists. In other words, professionals who are currently in the industry doing the thing that our students want to do.
Right, making a living.
Exactly. And that was extremely valuable. So one of the worries I had and the challenges I had by coming to Ringling, west coast of Florida, it was, where is that industry where I can bring in professionals, where I can bring in guest artists to work with our students? And I wasn't sure where that would come from. But it was something I was looking for. But I got lucky right out of the gate in that President Dr. Larry Thompson, who brought me into this school, he introduced me to some people here in the industry, here in the community, who loved movies. And I suddenly thought, well, wait a minute, you guys love movies. Why don't we bring more of the industry here to Sarasota and we share a little bit? And we all benefit from something like this. And they weren't quite sure what that what shape that was going to take place, and I wasn't either, because
but
it's one thing.
Great.
It's one thing to invite people from across town in like Los Angeles.
Right.
They can spend 2 hours, but to fly somebody from Los Angeles to Sarasota, it's full day travel, and then putting them up, and then it's complicated and time consuming and expensive.
Oh, I hear you.
So fortunately, there are some very charitable and generous donors in our area who thought that might be a good way to share with the college, a way to bring up the education for the film students.
Really enrich those students and their student experience.
And I have to, my hat is off to those people, because they really allowed us in partnership to start to bring in people like Andy Garcia, people like Forrest Whitaker, Ethan Hawke, Elijah Wood, James Woods. Right. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And
Werner Herzog
was our very first, right off the bat, and he came back 3 times. Because interestingly enough, when people came down here and they realized it's deeper than just a 2-hour meet and greet or chat about, a film, they actually started to bond with our program, bond with our students, and bond with our community.
Sure.
A lot of them have never been to Sarasota, and to be warmly invited